He held her life in his hands. She never expected this. The crash had been violent. Zara felt the metal around her groan and twist as her ship hit the surface of the unknown planet. The impact threw her against the control panel, and darkness took her. When she woke, the first thing she noticed was the strange air. It smelled different from her homeworld, heavy with moisture and unfamiliar scents. Her body ached, and when she tried to move, sharp pain shot through her left arm. The ship was destroyed, beyond repair. The communication systems were dead, and the hull had cracked open like an egg. Emergency power flickered weakly, casting strange shadows on the twisted metal. Zara was Zelthari, one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Her people were known across star systems for their superior technology and intellect. They had conquered dozens of worlds and enslaved countless primitive species. But now she was alone on this backwater planet. She managed to crawl out of the wreckage. Her silver skin gleamed in the alien sunlight, and her forearms hung at odd angles. Two were clearly broken. The crash had damaged her internal systems too. She could feel her body failing. That was when she saw him. The creature walked upright on two legs, like many primitive species, but something was different about this one. He was tall, with dark skin, and wore simple clothing. His species looked weak compared to her people. No natural weapons, no armored skin, just soft flesh, but his eyes held intelligence. The human stopped when he saw her. His face showed surprise, then concern. He said something in his primitive language, but she could not understand. The universal translator in her suit was broken. Zara tried to stand, but fell. The human moved closer. Slowly, with his hands raised in what seemed like a peaceful gesture, he knelt beside her, and she saw something unexpected in his face: compassion. Her people did not know this emotion. They took what they needed from weaker species without thought. But this creature, this human, was looking at her like she mattered. He examined her injuries with gentle hands. His touch was careful as he checked her broken arms. Zara had expected him to run or attack. Most primitive species feared the Zelthari. But this one seemed determined to help. The human, whose name she would later learn was Marcus, lifted her carefully. His strength surprised her. She was much larger than him, but he managed to carry her without strain. He brought her to a small dwelling made of local materials. Inside, he laid her on a soft surface and began treating her wounds. He had no advanced medical equipment, just simple tools and plant-based medicines, but his hands were steady and sure. Over the following days, Marcus cared for her. He brought food and water, changed her bandages, and sat with her when fever made her delirious. Slowly, Zara began to understand some of his language, and he learned a few words of hers. She discovered that humans were not primitive at all. They were resourceful, creative, and incredibly resilient. Marcus had built his home from nothing, using only materials from the forest. He grew his own food, crafted his own tools, and had learned to read the weather patterns. But more than that, he had something. Her advanced species had lost humanity. When Zara was strong enough to walk, Marcus showed her around his settlement. Other humans lived there too. A woman named Amy, who could heal with just plants and patience. An old man called Frank, who could predict storms by watching the sky. A young girl named Lucy, who could make music from hollow reeds. They all welcomed Zara despite her obvious differences. They shared their food, their knowledge, their stories. None of them asked for anything in return. They simply helped because it was right. As weeks passed, Zara learned more about these humans. They had no great technology, no starships, no weapons that could destroy cities, but they had created something beautiful, a community based on trust and mutual aid. She also learned about their struggles. The planet was harsh. Storms could destroy crops in minutes. Dangerous animals hunted in the forests. Disease could spread quickly through the settlement, but the humans endured. They adapted. They helped each other survive. And they never gave up. Hope Marcus spent long hours with her, teaching her about human customs and beliefs. He showed her how they celebrated births, mourned deaths, and marked the passing seasons. He explained concepts that were foreign to her people, like love, sacrifice, and forgiveness. Slowly, Zara began to change. She had always believed that strength came from technology, from the ability to dominate others. But watching these humans, she saw a different kind of strength. They were strong because they stood together. One night, as she sat with Marcus under the alien stars, she told him about her people, about their vast empire and their belief in superiority. She expected him to be afraid or angry. Instead, he was sad, not for himself, but for her people. He said that any species that had forgotten compassion had lost the most important thing of all. She did not understand at first, but as time passed, his words made sense. The Xelthari were powerful, but they were also empty. They conquered worlds but never truly lived. They had technology but no wisdom. When Zara was fully healed, she faced a choice. Her people would eventually find this planet. They would see the humans as another primitive species to enslave or destroy. She could call them, guide them here, complete her mission, or she could do something else. The answer came to her as she watched Marcus helping an injured child. His hands, the same hands that had saved her life, worked with infinite patience to heal another. The child was not his own species, not his responsibility, yet he cared for her as if she were family. That night, Zara made her decision. She destroyed the emergency beacon in her suit, the one device that could have summoned her people. She buried it, deep in the forest where it would never be found. When Marcus found her the next morning, she was crying. Her people would think she was dead. They would not come looking. No one would find this planet. Marcus sat beside her and took her hand. He did not ask why she was crying. He simply offered comfort, the way humans always did. Months turned into years. Zara learned to live like a human. She helped with the harvest, taught the children about the stars, and slowly forgot the cold efficiency of her former life. She discovered emotions she never knew existed. Joy when Lucy played music, sorrow when Frank grew old and sick, pride when Amy successfully treated a difficult illness, and love it grew slowly between her and Marcus. Built on shared experiences, mutual respect, and deep understanding. She had saved her own life by crashing on this planet, but he had saved her soul. One day, Lucy, now grown into a young woman, asked Zara about her home planet. Zara realized she had not thought about the Xelthari Empire in months. This was home now. These people were her family. She looked at Marcus working in the garden, his hands gentle as always with the growing plants. His hair was gray now, his face lined with age. But his eyes still held the same compassion that had saved her. He held her life in his hands that first day when he chose to help rather than fear. But in the years since, she had held his too. Along with the lives of all the humans in their small settlement, they had taught her that true strength came not from conquest but from connection. Not from taking, but from giving, as the sun set over their peaceful valley. Zara smiled. She had been one of the most advanced beings in the galaxy, but these simple humans had taught her the most important lesson of all, how to truly live. The Xelthari Empire continued its expansion among the stars, never knowing that one of their own had found something greater than power. She had found purpose, belonging, and the deep satisfaction that came from helping others thrive. Marcus found her standing in the garden that evening. He slipped his weathered hand into hers and they watched the stars appear one by one in the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, her former people continued their cold march across the universe, but here in this small corner of space, love had won.